I mean, I'll be honest. If all I had to eat were tasteless vegetables and some dude came along and said, "Here, this is pizza," I'd consider that guy a hero as well. Hello everybody and welcome to another light novel review. I'm Justice R. Stone, and on this channel I cover all things light novels, news, reviews, countdowns, and even the light novel podcast. So if you love light novels or you're just starting to get interested in them, you should consider subscribing. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the light novel The Hero and His Elf Bride Open a Pizza Parlor in Another World. This one by Kaya Kizaki. It's released in English by Yen On. If you want to pick up your own copy, I've got a link to Amazon or the book depository in the description down below. Now in this book we have main character Kaito, who finds himself in the typical isekai hero position of being dead, and in front of a goddess who offers him three choices. He can become a warrior, he can become a magician, or he can be the high-calorie hero delivering the joy of pizza. Well, Kaito kind of hums and haws about the first two. The third one is not even an option. But the first two, God, do you want to use swords? Do you want to save the world with magic? What would you do? Well, he hums and haws too long and gets told, oops, it took a little too long and we had other people that were in line for the whole reincarnation thing, and they picked the whole swordsman and magician thing already, so only thing left for you is to go make pizza there, buddy. And so Kaito finds himself reincarnated into a world in an elf village where the elves are, well, they're kind of malnourished, honestly. And he realizes that they just don't have a high enough calorie intake in their diet, and so he seeks to solve that problem through the power of pizza. This book is really an easygoing read. I mean, really, like, easygoing and turn off your brain. Don't think a whole lot, don't question it a whole lot, just go along for the lulz. Really, the book is structured as a series of short stories, each of them pretty much focusing on either a person's reaction to Kaito's pizza for the first time, or Kaito seeking out new ingredients. The main mechanic when Kaito arrives in this village is that he's got a bag that he was given by the goddess, and that when he opens it up there's cards inside, and when he says the name of the card, the thing appears, whether it be like an ingredient or what have you. Now, as he does more stuff and learns more stuff, new cards appear, and some of these cards have conditions such as create a pizza using ingredients only from this world and you will gain the knowledge of, I don't know, pizza making level 2, let's say. If you can find such and such things and do such and such things, this card will turn into pop. And so really it's about him satisfying the conditions of the cards, or trying to convince the elf queen that pizza's a good thing for her people. You know, the problem is that really when you read this book, and I think my biggest problem with it is that there's not a whole lot of heroism in the book. It reads more like a guy just kind of chilling in an elf village with a cute elf girl by his side, trying to figure out how he can make a successful pizza business. He doesn't really do anything all that super heroic with pizza until the very last story in this volume. And I think that was kind of my problem with this book, is that I get to that last story and I read that and I'm like, my God, this is what I was actually hoping would be happening in this book. This is the kind of stuff I thought we'd be in for. Heroic deeds involving pizza, because he's a hero. But really, it just seems like for most of the book, he's just a hero because he's given people something yummy to scarf down. Which, you know, like I said in the beginning, I mean, I would probably consider that kind of heroic too, but in a light novel, I don't feel like it really cuts it. I mean, let's face it, we've already had some light novels with some pretty outlandish isekai setups. I mean, my God, we've had a girl who's reincarnated as a spider, we've had a dude reincarnated as a slime, we've had a guy reincarnated as a vending Machine, for goodness sake. And with all of those books, I actually found myself pleasantly surprised by them. But I think it's because in each of them, it was like they totally bought into those concepts. They really sought to make those concepts cool and interesting, and how would they work in this world, and just really going all out with it. Or creating characters like in, So I'm a Spider, So What, that are so engaging and fun to read that I don't really care so much whether she's a spider or not. I just really love reading her. None of that really happens in this book. There's nothing all that adventuresome or out there that's done with this concept. Kaito is about as vanilla a character as you can get. In fact, his biggest character journey is going from a dude who really wasn't thrilled about the idea of making pizza to the guy who realizes, maybe a peaceful life surrounded by a cute elf girl and making nummies, well, maybe that's just a pretty good life to have. It's not a huge character journey. He doesn't change very much. In fact, it's just like he just kind of realizes all of a sudden that, wow, I got a pretty lax life and it's pretty sweet. Okay. The characters surrounding him are all incredibly one note. His elvish bride, and while she's not really even his bride for most of the book, she's really just your one note, sort of slightly airheaded, I gotta eat everything that I see because I don't know, I just got to. I mean, initially that's made to seem like, oh, it's because she is so malnourished, but she's really clearly not malnourished as she starts hanging out with Kaito, and yet she still stuffs her face all the time, and even in really incredibly inappropriate ways that she as an adult should know better. I mean, things that amount to like theft, really, is kind of what it amounts to. I mean, that's endearing when it's a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, but when you're a grown woman, not so much, honestly. It's even more problematic that there's actually a fat elf. I'm kind of like, well, if all these elves are malnourished and everything else, then why is there a fat elf? Well, it turns out he's addicted to honey. And I'm like, really? You've got honey in this world and none of you thought to slap some honey on these tasteless vegetables? None of you thought to cook this stuff? Like, I don't know. Like I said, I just, as I'm reading the book, my head is just starting to spin into things and I'm just like, when is he going to do something heroic that involves pizza? And unfortunately, it doesn't happen till the end. And when I read that, I was like, that should have been the first chapter and everything should have just kind of amped up from there. Now, this is a standalone book. It's a one-off, and it reads like a one-off, because like I said, there's not a lot in here that's developed to make you think that the story's ever going to go anywhere else. And the characters are so one-note that you just don't really think that there is such a thing as a character's journey that you're going to be going on. And again, the story's just so easygoing and soft that there's just, you don't really feel the need that you need more once you're done the book. Now, I'm being critical, of course, because there's so many isekai titles out there, and so many of them, as I have already said, take these silly concepts and actually make them kind of cool that, to me, I would have thought that this was a no-brainer and that it could have been really kind of interesting. And like, even if you just made it goofy, like, I don't know, the Demon Lord is allergic to pepperoni or something, that I still would have thought was funny. But there's no Demon Lords in this that I can tell. In fact, there's really not that much in the way of threats except for a dragon that is mentioned. And I mean, really, I think that's the problem, is that it just, I wanted more. I'm so used to other isekais doing so much with these outlandish concepts that to read this one, it was kind of like, it felt like you didn't really try that hard. On the flip side, and maybe on a more positive side, if you are looking for something that is just a really, really softball read, that is very zero commitment because there's nothing else, this is probably not a bad option. I mean, it's not poorly written. It's not like anything in it is offensive or really bothersome. It's just, like I said, there's just, it strikes me that this concept could have been a lot more fun than what it actually turns out to be. And For that, I was a little bit disappointed. My next review is going to be another #1, and that's going to be the Isekai MILF title, Do You Love Your Mom and Her 2-Hit Multi-Target Attacks? That'll be my next review. So thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye for now.